Hello guys, Sapphire Yagami with the review for Teen Wolf, episode 20, titled Echo House. In this episode, Styles and Sheriff Stilinski ride in silence. Both seem tempted to speak, but don't. They pull up outside Eachin House, which is a mental health facility, and without a word, get out of the vehicle and stare up at the imposing metal gate and the edifice beyond. Scott arrives on his dirt bike, except that no one told him that Styles was moving into the Eachin House for 72 hours. He is worried because William Barrow and his fly-filled tumor came from this place. The sheriff explains that Styles' MRI results looked exactly like those of his wife, Claudia Styles, and he is terrified. He is going to LA tomorrow to talk to a specialist, and Styles has requested that he be locked away in the mental health facility so that he doesn't hurt anyone. Scott tries to talk him out of the plan, saying that Deaton's got some ideas and Argent is calling people to try to find something to help him rid himself of the Negutsine. Styles says that if they don't find something, then Scott must make sure that he never gets out. They walk inside the Eachin House attendant. She explains the rules. There are no phone calls, emails, or videos allowed in the first 72 hours. As she lays out the process, a physical and meeting with a psychologist and group therapist. Sheriff Stilinski becomes more and more agitated at the sounds of doors buzzing, the cell doors buzzing, filling his ear. The attendant takes Styles' shoe and gives him brown slippers because no laces are allowed, which makes sense because if you're crazy, you don't want them to have lace they can choke somebody with, and then makes him empty his pockets of keys and other items. Suddenly, the sheriff declared that he got Styles' pillow and that they both must leave to go and get it. He manically explains that every time they stayed in the hotel, the first thing they pack is Styles' pillow. It is irrational, but he clings to this as an excuse to get his son away and home because I'm not checking you in if you're not going to get one decent night's sleep. I'm like, oh. He's all. I freak out too, all these noises going on. And then you got the supernatural aspect. Oh, that'd be too much. Styles explains that he has had that he hasn't slept well in weeks and hugs his father tightly. Styles is then gone off down the hall with the attendant, leaving his father standing alone and helpless. As they ascend the stairs, Styles sees someone he thinks he recognizes down one of the hallways. The attendant urges him on. When he looks back, she is gone. On one of the landings above, a man is nodding his sheet and talking to himself, quoting a riddle. I'm part of the bird that's not in the sky, can swim in the ocean, yet still remain dry. He then loops the knotted sheet around his neck in a noose and leaps from the landing, hanging himself. In the crowd of onlookers gathered in the stairway below, Styles sees Negutsine. Chris Arden is then talking to Dr. Deaton on the payphone at the sheriff's station. It is apparently Chris who helped Deaton infiltrate the Yakuza Ikita's house in Lathara Volpina. I think I pronounced it right here. To get the Lichen to poison really? Really? This freaking word? Negutsine. There we go. There you go. At the animal clinic, Allison and Scott are listening as Dean explains to Chris that they have two problems. First, the lichen is not a cure and will wear off in a matter of days. So pretty much probably like a sleeping thing, knock them out for a minute. Chris said while the poison is working, the Oni will not go after Styles. And Dean adds that Eachin House has an interesting history and that the Oni might not be safe there. The second problem is that having checked with Chris contacts in Japan, Deaton's learned that the possessed Yakuza boss we saw killed in episode Riddle never found the Shugundo scroll. He explains that the Shugundo were the aesthetic mystics of Japan, and the scroll had information on how to exercise the Negutsine. The man who last purchased it was Silverfinger's henchman, Kincaid. They suspect that Silverfinger, aka Katashi, wanted the scroll for himself and was paranoid enough to keep it on him at all times. The sheriff hasn't found any scroll in any of Katashi's belongings, but Allison has an idea that it might be very small and just know where it might be hidden. After witnessing the suicide, Styles is desperate to use the phone. The attendant says the accident that occurred is being taken care of. Styles balks at the use of the word accident, and she changes it slightly to more accurate incident. He pushes her to use the phone, and she threatens him with their 5-point restraint system. Styles' roommate, who is himself who is himself strapped down to his bed, says sleep is the better option. The roommate introduced himself as Oliver. He says he heard the suicide because something in the way the building is constructed causes everything to echo eventually. He says that's why they call it the Echo House. Styles sits up the whole night. In the morning, Oliver has a coughing fit. He says he swallowed a bug the other day and it feels like he's still has stuck in his throat. Oliver gives him the tour and explains that the violent patients are locked away in a closed ward. He then points out some of the other patients. Hillary has OCD, Gary, Dan, and Mary all delusional and think they are Jesus Christ. Styles says he wants to use phone because he's decided each house isn't safe for him or anyone ever. A girl is talking on the payphone, so Styles waits behind her. She tells the person on the other end that she really thinks she should tell them because they're going to want to know the story, the whole story. And then she adds, one of them is standing right behind me. After she's hung up and walks away, Styles inquires and Oliver explains that her name is Meredith and that she's a little weird. Styles picks up the phone and finds the line's dead. Oliver says they always turn off all the phones for 24 hours after the suicide. You could have told him that before he put his ear to the phone. Exiting into the Itching House porch, Styles spots Maya Tate and starts to remind her of his role in restoring her to human form. She punches him. They are both promptly tackled by facility staff, and Styles finds himself face down on the ground on top of a grate. It's the same grate with round openings that he remembers from his riddled dream. So obviously he's gonna be more curious about it. So only in the dream he was below the grate looking up. The orderlies are getting a little rough with Styles until Miss Morial shows up and puts a stop to it. I mean, he didn't even do nothing. He the one that got punched in the face, and you manhandled him. Like, get off, Jesus. Styles explains to her about the basement. In adjoining cells at the sheriff's station, Argent is waiting impatiently for Derek to listen in to the deputies and find out what is going to happen with Silverfinger's belongings. Derek hears that Silenci is out for the day, and the feds are taking all the evidence they gathered. It will be picked up and transported to the federal lockup. They discuss the morality of what Styles did, killing people while under the influence of oh my god, this word, Nagusine. Archie compares it to the situation with the Kanama, but Derek says they got lucky with Jackson and wonders aloud what happens when you don't get lucky. Arden tells the story of the berserkers of ancient Europe who dress up in bear skins in an effort to channel the bear's ferocity when they went into battle. Arden said they actually became the animals they were trying to channel and lost all humanity in the process because they were not tempered by the moon. He says a couple of years ago, a family approached the Argent because their son was involved with a group of kids who were playing around with rituals, channeling the animals through their skins. The boy was completely lost and tearing people apart. It took 3 men and every bullet we had, but Chris eventually put him down. He says he felt no remorse because the kid was long gone. He says he would feel remorse for killing Styles, but not the Nagusine. In the group therapy, Miss Morial is discussing guilt. She says it's a good thing, a rather mature emotion. She tries to draw Maya out, questioning her visceral reaction to guilt. Maya says it makes her sick to her stomach. Morial says it often becomes physical and not just psychological. Oh, great. Oh, there you go. While she is talking, Styles believes he sees the Nagusine talking to one of the orderlies. Moriel calls him on for his reaction to guilt. He says it makes him nervous. Moriel interprets this as a sense of urgency, saying Styles feels an urgent need to make up for something he's done. She said those are healthy responses. Styles again sees the Nagusine first from the corner of his eye, then sitting next to him in a group circle. Moriel asks the group what they call someone who doesn't experience guilt. Oliver volunteers the right answer that such a person would be a sociopath. Moriel noticed the red jagged lines on Styles' neck in the group session and takes him to her office. Styles has a red mark that looks like lightning bolts running up his back to his neck. Moriel says it's a Lichtenberg figure, which is known to appear after lightning strikes a person. She describes the appearance of Styles after a shadow wolf lichen as both significant and strange. She says that when the mark fades, the Nagusine will have control of Styles again. She gives him amphetamines to stay awake, saying sleep would be exactly what he doesn't want to do because he is vulnerable when he's asleep. She also threatens to inject him with great, can't pronounce this freaking word. Pancurinium bromide, which she says will cause respiratory paralysis. She explains that the drug is used to carry out lethal injections. Styles realizes that she plans to kill him if the Nagusine takes over. She says she'll do what she's always done, maintain the balance. She leaves him with a warning to stay awake. Styles attempts to get down to the basement, but the door is locked. Oliver says the head orderly Bronsky has a key. Oliver suggests if he wants Bronsky's keys, you'll have to figure out the way to trick him. Scott, Ethan, and Aiden join Allison and Lydia at the Argent's penthouse. Allison explains that all of the Silverfinger evidence is being moved by armored car. Within a few hours, the kids plan to rob the armored car. In Eaton House, in the men's shower room, Styles takes one of the pills Miss Morial gave him. Looking in the mirror, he notices that Maya is showering behind him. There are some awkward moments where Styles tries not to look at her naked body. We know you want to look. She says ever since she became human again, she's constantly cold. I guess you would be if you're constantly used to fur on your body, and now you're human. It's like, oh god, this is gross. Styles fumbles around with a scientific explanation about a lower core temperature before she cuts him off and explains that she used to have a full-body fur coat when she was a warrior coyote. He asks why she punched him, and she sarcastically thanks Styles for invading her home, putting her on the run, and turning her back human. She says she looked at her father every day and tried to figure out how to tell him that her sister and mother are dead because she almost ate them on a full moon. Styles says they were just trying to help. Maya said if they wanted to help her, they will find a way to change her back. Styles says he might know somebody who could teach her how to change. She agrees to help him distract Bronsky and get the keys. Scott thinks the plan to rob the armored car isn't good. Aiden keep interjecting that they should just attack the driver, but Allison and Lydia are going for something more subtle and less bloody. The plan is to stick a GPS tracker on the truck, then they'll block the road with the twins bikes as if there's been an accident. When the driver stops to help, Scott will rip the door off the bag and retrieve Silverfinger's silver finger. Sorry. Oliver pins Maya to the floor, screaming that she's lying about the ancient house staff drilling holes into his head. Bronsky steps in to break up the fight. Maya lifts his keys and hands them off to Styles. At the sheriff's station, Argent is taken to an interview room to meet his lawyer. He is surprised to find the older Spanish-speaking woman we saw in the episode More Bad Than Good call him Christopher. I think it's not Christopher. It has just the E on it. So is it Christopher? I don't know how you pronounce it. Styles tries all the keys, but none open the door to the basement. Bronsky catches him, locks him in a quiet room, and gives him a shot of Haldol, which puts him to sleep. Oh, great. Now he's asleep. Scott is leaving his house to join the armored truck heist when Kira shows up. She brought her sword, and she says she's been picking up the skills really fast. She wants to help Scott, but Scott says no. She thinks he doesn't want her around because of her mother calling forth the Oni, but Scott says it's not that. He's worried about her because people who help him end up getting hurt. She takes a few swipes with the sword, and he's impressed enough to allow her to come along. Ooh, sword magic. I'm so playing. Styles dreams he's trapped in the locker. He begs to be let out. The Goosenay is outside banging on the door and demanding that Styles let me in. No, I don't want to let you in. He wakes up in a quiet room and Maya is there. She says she broke the law because if she concentrates, she can be pretty strong. He said there's another way into the basement through the closed unit where they keep the real psychos. Outside the sheriff's station, Alice, Scott, and Kira watch the armored truck. Allison sends Kira to attach the GPS tracker to the truck. Just as she clicks the device in place, Deputy Parrish exits the station. Kira hides on the other side of the vehicle. Parrish opens the door and finds the driver unconscious and bloody. Parrish draws his sidearm and walks around to the back of the truck, scanning the parking lot. While his back is turned, the doors of the truck fly open and Kincaid jumps out and knocks the deputy cold. Inside, Argent is still meeting with the mysterious woman. Woman, what is wrong with pronouncing words today? They're discussing the code. She says it's more than a code of behavior; it's a code of honor. She says it binds their families and that he can't abandon such things lightly. Argent counters, asking where in the code said his wife had just killed herself. The woman says Victoria Argent honored us with her dying death. Upset now, Chris says she could have honored her daughter by staying alive. She says the Argent family is very complicated. He demands to know what she wants, wondering if this visit is somehow about Allison. The woman gets up and leaves without explanation. Kincaid retrieves the silver finger. Scott politely interrupts him and says we need that finger, as Allison draws a bed on him with the crossbow. She offers him the $150,000 in the briefcase in exchange for Kincaid, but Kincaid says the scroll inside the finger is worth $3 million. Like, damn, really? That little thing is worth $3 million? Shoot. Do you know what I could do with $3 million? Anyway, Scott says, give me the finger. Sorry, that's very immature. As Kira jumps down on Kincaid's back, he shrugs her off easily and bares his fangs, saying, I guess negotiations are over. Yeah, because he's like a big dude. Little Kira ain't gonna do nothing. Oh, Lord, no. Styles and Maya make it to the basement of the Ichin house. Styles points out a Japanese symbol for self scratched onto the wall. She urges Styles to tell her more. He says, you might not like me if you knew more. She reminds him that she is a were-coyote that murdered her whole family and promises not to judge. Well, technically, they really wasn't your family, but you'll find out. I'm pretty sure you find that out later. Kincaid removes one of Allison's arrows from his body. Kira takes a swing, but is picked up by the throat and thrown aside. Allison gets backhanded. Scott takes several swings, but Kincaid barely flinches. He then grabs Scott's arms, pins them to his side, and delivers a headbutt that staggers the teen wolf. Scott comes back swinging, but takes a punch to the gut and a shot to the back, followed by a kick to the stomach that knocks the wind out of him. Kincaid kneels over him and says, you have the eyes of an alpha, but where's the strength? The twins are standing above the fray. Aiden yells down up here as they pounce on the big wolf and proceed to beat the ever-living crap out of him. Because obviously, this is a big dude, so they gonna need twice the power to whoop his ass. So why not better than twins? Styles and Maya are going through the bunch of old papers that was stored in the basement. They find an illustration of trephination, which is what Oliver was screaming about earlier. Is the practice of drilling holes in a patient's head to treat depression. How the heck is that going to treat depression and any mental illness? By drilling holes in a person's head. Boy, every time you read these stuff about what people used to do to try to treat people of mental illnesses and homosexuality, it's like it was torture. That's not treatment. That's torture. I'm sorry. That is straight up torture. You're drilling holes in a person's head. Are you freaking kidding me? What that has that actually ever helped anybody? That might make them even more crazy. You didn't put holes in the head. Just saying. Styles says Maya checked the lines on his back. They're fading and almost gone. Styles shivers at the touch of Maya's cold hands. He holds her hands to warm them. They kiss. Maya says she wants to try something else and removes the shorts. And they have sex. Yay, Styles is no longer a virgin. Woo! And I'm pretty sure Maya is probably no longer a virgin too, since the fact that she was a were-coyote since she was a kid. Unless she didn't have sex with another animal, then I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this way too much. Scott yells for Ethan and Aiden to stop before the kill Kincaid because they are beating the crap out of him. I mean, they is beating this dude to death. The twins argue, saying that Scott doesn't want the big man coming after them. Scott says Kincaid looks smart enough to remember that they are dangerous and to sail away. He takes the silver finger, removes the scroll, and lets the silver piece drop to the ground. He ends by saying, we're here to save a life, not in one. Spooning together on the couch, Maya has an idea. She walks over to the self-kanji carved in the wall and raps on it with her fist. There is a hollow sound. Styles grabs a pipe and busts in the wall. In the hollow behind the panel, they see a skeleton of all bandaged and covered in cobwebs. Styles says it's the Nagusane that he keeps seeing. Maya reaches into the pocket of the corpse and removes a photograph. Handing it to Styles, she asks if he recognizes anyone. Styles said he does recognize one of them. At that moment, Oliver tases Styles and Maya. He then injects Maya with Haradol. Oliver brings up Tripnation again. Tripnation, I think it's been like, yeah. Again, and grabs the electric drill. Holding it aloft, he says he's going to let all the evil spirits out. Oh, great. Here go crazy. Styles is strapped to a chair as is Maya. Oliver is caught having a coughing fit and coughs up a handful of blood and a dead fly. Ew. He turns on the drill and moves towards Styles' skull until a rough voice says, start with her. Oliver immediately stops and moves over to Maya. The Nagusane is standing across the room. Styles figures out that the creature somehow got into Oliver's head. The Nagusane says every Dracula needs a Renfield. Master. As Oliver prepares to drill in Maya's head, Styles begs the Nagusane to stop him. The creature doesn't relent until Styles allows him to take control. Styles slashes Nagusane, then breaks the straps restraining him. Takes the drill from Oliver and knocks him out with it. He exits, leaving Maya strapped to the chair in the Ichin house basement. Deaton reads the tiny scroll and says there's not much there. It simply says that one way to expel a Nagusane is for the host's body to change. Scott believes this could mean turning the host into a werewolf. Miss Moriel is walking Maya out of the Ichin house. Moriel says Maya is looking for Scott McCall and that she can help the girl find him. And then her eyes like glow blue. So that's all for this episode of Teen Wolf. The season finale will be this Monday. So I will see you guys there, and I can't wait to see what happens. So comment, rate, and subscribe.